test to review. So in number 1 we got establish the identity one fraction minus another fraction, and we need to combine these two fractions and get 2. So these are 4 choices. Let's see, when we combine two fractions, first thing we need to make is common denominator. So sine, cosine, so we multiply first fraction by the bottom of the second, so this cosine 7 over same thing, and here we multiply second fraction by the bottom of the first, that is sine 7 over sine 7. That makes the common denominator cosine 7 sine 7, or sine 7 theta cosine 7 theta, sine 7 theta cosine 7 theta, all 4 cases. Okay, on the top we have cosine 7 sine 21 minus cosine 21 sine 7. So let me write over here, when we combine these two, let me write sine first, because the bottom, all 4 bottoms have sine first. So this is same as sine 7 theta on the bottom times cosine 7, or sine 7 cosine 7. That's on the bottom. On the top, sine is again first, so I want to write sine first. Sine 21 theta cosine 7 theta, sine 21 cosine 7 minus cosine 21, because I want to write 21 first, cosine 21 sine 7 theta. Okay, and the top is, in fact, when we combine, this comes from a formula of something, sine cosine minus cosine sine. That is just what is sine u minus v? Sine u minus v is in fact sine u cosine v minus cosine u sine v, and we have exactly this form on the top. If I assume u v, then this top reads sine u cosine v minus cosine u sine v, and that is exactly in compact from sine u minus v. So this is on the top sine 21 theta minus 7 theta. Okay, 21 theta minus 7, which is 14 theta, over sine 7 theta cosine 7 theta. If we look at here, we have to have sine 21 theta, so this is cosine, so this is not the choice. Sine here, it could be cosine, this is not the choice. Sine, yeah, this could be. Okay, now the next is, but here they have written sine sine, we are supposed to have sine and cosine, and this is not the choice as well, though this is fine, but this from here to here, this is wrong, because the top is sine 21 cosine 7, sine 21 sine 7, that's not the case. So this is the solution we already knew, but let me show you how we get the rest. So we are here now. Now on the top, I want to show you how this is number 2. Okay, so on the top, this is sine 21 minus 7 is 14 theta. I'm not going to write the bottom. Bottom is just that. Now look at 14 theta and 7. 14 is 2 times 7, so sine, we can say 2 times 7 theta on the top, and we have bottom sine 7 cosine 7. On the top we have now sine 2 times an angle. As we know, sine of double angle, sine of, let's say, 2x, that's the formula in fact. Okay, this is 2 sine x cosine x. So using this formula, sine 2 7 theta is 2 sine 7 theta cosine 7 theta, and on the bottom we got sine 7 theta cosine 7 theta. So times, so sine cancel, cosine cancel, 2, and that's how we get the right hand side 2. Okay, that was what we were supposed to get. So this one is the correct choice. Okay, maybe this is not the case, so I will not write in this way. So this is the correct choice. In fact, you don't have to do anything here because we already knew from second step. So number 2, solve the equation 1 plus sine equals 2 cosine square theta. Okay, so we got sine and cosine, 2 types of variables. We need to always change into one type. Here cosine is square, and we can change cosine square easily, not sine theta. Sine theta can be changed to cosine theta, but that involves a radical sign. But cosine square is just 1 minus sine square theta, and this is much better. So this one is same as 1 plus sine theta equals 2 times, now quantity, cosine square theta is 1 minus sine square theta. And if it is complicated to handle with sine theta, we can let x be sine theta. Okay, let's sine theta be x. Then that makes this simpler. So then this becomes 1 plus x equals 2 times quantity 1 minus x squared. Now let's simplify. This is 1 plus x equals, distribute 2 minus 2x squared. To solve, this is a quadratic equation, degree 2. To solve, we have to move in one side and make other side 0. So negative 2x squared, I want to bring to the left. That means add, because I'm getting rid of this negative sign. So add 2x squared and subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, so from both sides. So we are adding 2x squared, and that's what I want to write in the first. Then 1 plus x is already on the left, but we are subtracting 2 as well, right? So let me write x. Subtract 2 means 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So we have a quadratic equation equals 0. To solve, we always factor. Okay, it can be challenging, but it's just trial and error. So 2x squared, the only way 2x squared factors is 2x and x. And 1, negative 1, just 1 times 1. That's the only way 1 factors. Now to get plus in the middle, so negative 1 means one of them should be negative. Okay, so to get plus, we have to have plus here, because when we multiply 2x times 1 plus 1, that's plus 2x, and this makes this negative sign. X minus 1 is negative x, and plus 2x minus x is plus x. You can FOIL and check. This is good factoring. Now next, so 2x minus 1 equals 0. So let me write over here. 2x minus 1 equals 0, or x plus 1 equals 0. Add 1, divide by 2. So x equals 1/2. Here subtract 1 from both sides. X equals negative 1. But x was just sine theta. Go back and replace x by sine theta. So sine theta equals 1/2. So we are looking for angles theta whose sine is 1/2. Here x is sine theta, negative 1. Using the unit circle, sine is positive in first and second quadrants, and we know that sine pi over 6 is 1/2 and pi over 6. Okay, sine pi over 6 is 1/2. You can check unit circle. Sine is negative 1. Sine 90, sine pi over 2 is positive 1. That's the opposite of 90. That means 270. So theta is 3 pi over 2. Okay, again from unit circle. So there is a solution and the answers are pi over 6, 5 pi over 6 and 3 pi over 2. Okay, now establish the identity number 3. Cosine theta times cosecant equals cotangent. Write the left side in terms of sine and cosine. So cosine is already cosine. Now cosecant, what is cosecant? We know that cosecant is just reciprocal of sine. So cosecant theta is in fact 1 over sine theta. Write the result from the previous step as a single fraction. Now we're going to multiply. Multiply means cosine theta 1 on the top, just cosine theta, divided by sine theta on the bottom. Okay, now we got a quotient of cosine and sine, and cosine over sine is just cotangent. The fraction from the previous step then simplifies to cotangent. Yeah, it's the quotient of two functions, so it's the quotient identity. Quotient means fraction. Okay.